you stupid or something?
Watching Trump's mental decline could be enjoyable, but for a couple of reasons. Yeah, that's one of them, but the other is almost as troubling. There's a whole business happening, and it goes like this. MAGA knows Trump's brain is dwindling. Maybe not like this freak.
In a deposition that RFK said doctors found a worm in his brain that had eaten part of his brain.
But Trump is sliding precipitously down the hill of dementia, and no one, and especially the Republicans, want him to slow down. Why? Because Trump's demons, his racism, his misogyny, his homophobia.
The transgender thing is incredible. Think of it. Your kid goes to school and comes home a few days later with an operation. The school decides what's going to happen with your child.
Well, Trump has opened the door for the ugly American, who may not be the majority of us, but they are a plurality of those who want hate to win. And now the rest of us find ourselves watching Trump's cognitive collapse with a detached sense of fear and wonder. How bad is it, and how much worse could it get?
A dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast, or he's not going to have a country left. Got to move fast. Because
President, do you still think that Mr. Zelensky is a dictator?
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that. Next question.
He truly doesn't remember. And while Trump's brain was a concern during the campaign, if you only watched Fox, you may not have seen the moments where the First Lady just wandered off. All Fox did was talk about Biden, who admittedly was old, but not senile. Trump, on the other hand, is like a piece of meat left out in the sun for a couple hours, and it's progressing as such. And his followers?
What was the cause of the Civil War, the U.S. Civil War in the 1800s?
What was the cause of the Civil War?
What do you think the cause of the Civil War was?
I don't know.
What would you say is the cause of the Civil War?
The Civil War? What caused the Civil War?
I love the poorly educated.
You're an idiot!
More coming up, but first, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's easy, and when you do it, you'll feel an incredible sensation. But if it lasts more than 4 hours, I'd see a doctor.
And I still think that the collective, we are underreacting to that bizarro kind of musical event that he did the other night. I mean, if Joe Biden had done anything remotely similar, if he'd done it for 5 minutes, never mind 40 minutes, swaying on a stage while playing music and saying nothing while everybody sort of pretended it was normal and looked around awkwardly and tried to figure out how to respond, the calls for Joe Biden to get out of the race, the calls for anyone else to get out of the race. I mean, our ability to understand or talk about what's normal is so out of whack. And obviously, Trump being senescent is pretty far down the list of kind of reasons why he shouldn't be president.
Right, exactly.
Nevertheless, there is something going on here.
So Trump is president with the nuclear codes, and he surrounded himself with people like Musk, RFK Jr., Hegseth, and a smorgasbord of weak acolytes. And it makes you wonder about a lot of things, like the 25th Amendment and foreign powers attacking us. In fact, it was only a couple months ago when Trump said this.
Let's say your boat goes down and I'm sitting on top of this big, powerful battery and the boat's going down. Do I get electrocuted? And he said, you know what? Honestly, nobody's ever asked me that question. But if I'm sitting down and that boat's going down and I'm on top of a battery and the water starts flooding in, I'm getting concerned. But then I look 10 yards to my left and there's a shark over there. So I have a choice of electrocution or shark. You know what I'm going to take? Electrocution. I will take electrocution every single time. Let's listen to Pavarotti sing Ave Maria. Can you hear that?
Mr. Trump has dismissed any speculation about mental decline, describing his rambling rhetoric as him weaving together different topics and saying his supporters get it. Let's take a look at some of these questions with an author and clinical psychologist who's raised some of them. That's Dr. Ben Michaelis. Doctor, welcome to the NewsHour. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Doctor, both his political opponents, but also some academics look at his speech patterns, they look at his stories and some odd behavior, and they say it's all evidence of mental decline. Do you see it that way? Are those concerns valid?
So Obviously, I can't diagnose someone in absentia, but certainly there is ample evidence. And look, he's 78 years old. Just to be fair, all of us tend to decline over time. Some of what we're seeing is pretty extreme elements of his decline that are certainly suggestive of more serious impairment.
Well, tell us a bit more about what you see that says that to you, especially in terms of who he is today versus a year ago, or even to Trump of 2016.
So I did an analysis for Stat News about seven years ago, looking at the complexity of his speech from when he was in his 40s to when he was running for president back in 2016. And at that time, there was definitely a difference both in his sentence structure and in the complexity of his vocabulary.
What you have to say, they want you to say what they want to have you say, and we're not going to let that happen.
So let's talk again about MAGA opportunists who we know hate Trump because they've said it out loud. From Vance to Rubio to Ted Cruz to Lindsey Graham, they see his decline and position themselves to live past 2024 because they thought, like the rest of us, no way 75 million could vote for him after January the 6th. So now, even though they won't say it out loud, there is a concern. The first is there still a Republican Party?
This isn't their Republican Party anymore!
One of the few times he's been right about anything. But can the Republicans control him moving forward? They backed him thinking he would lose, and whomever had the loudest voice would get these idiots to vote for them. But that didn't happen. What did happen was a strange marriage of hate and mental illness. The Americans who hate people of color, LGBT, and immigrants resurrected their hero, and he again wandered back into power like a lost dog into a trash bin.
Because his father, Fred Trump, was diagnosed with dementia. Does that mean anything for former President Trump's likelihood of also potentially developing dementia?
Again, it just increases the odds. We know these things run in families. There's certainly evidence of that. And there are sort of genetic markers that you can certainly take tests for to see. But all that does is increase the odds. So you take that information, which as well as all the different things that you're seeing, and it paints a picture. And what I'm hoping to do is just put a little bit of a spotlight on this so that people make an informed decision about who they are putting in the Oval Office. That's all.
Separate and apart from any formal diagnosis, there are those who say, look, this is just who President Trump is and has always been, right? That he occasionally speaks this way and tells incoherent stories and uses more brash and aggressive language. It's just Trump being Trump and has nothing to do with cognitive decline. Could that be it? Could it just be personality?
I mean, I suppose, but look, the fact of the matter is that he's an entertainer fundamentally, and he's entertaining to watch for people. So if you're not trained in this, you may be focused only on, and he has a lot of vigor. Let's be very clear, for a 70-year-old man, he has a lot of vigor. And so you're focusing on those things, but not.
Listen to him ramble during the LA fires, making shit up like water north of you is the same as water above you. And then Senator Ted Lieu explains the truth.
And I'm sure you've seen it, the water comes down from the northwest parts of Canada, I guess, but the Pacific Northwest.
So Donald Trump has it in his mind that somehow there's a spigot in Northern California, he's going to open a valve and dump water to Southern California. Here are the facts. Southern California's reservoirs are at near record levels when this fire happened. Didn't matter because Donald Trump then ordered the Army Corps of Engineers to release over 2 billion gallons of water that almost flooded farmland, if not for the local water districts that pushed back. But guess what? This water was saved for the farmers for the summer season when they needed the water. And so the president wasted all this water that isn't even reaching Southern California. It's going to evaporate for a PR stunt.
What will happen to Trump? In 10 years, if his Kentucky Fried Chicken heart doesn't explode, he'll wander around like a fart in a frat house, a dodgy old bigoted, constipated cockwaffle. And then in 2035, he's the next Republican candidate.
It's very simple. You're a nasty person.
Damn right.
I'm as mad as hell.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.